So, hi. I've had a heavy week. It's been a heavy week. I'm always carrying, a little bit the people I love. I think we all are. I think that's the network that connects us in loose ties or tight ties, whichever. But when people you love are suffering, it's so hard. And I've had more than 2 conversations this week with people who I love who are holding on to the hearts of people they love who are suffering. And this is a big reason that I'm doing this Substack, actually, is that I feel like when that's happening, it's a little harder to know how to love. Right, Tundra? It's a little harder to know how to love when somebody is overwhelmed that we're connected to. And so I thought a lot about this morning because I want to take things out of my head and into my heart, and most especially into my body. And I think a lot of us would benefit from getting out of our heads, and some of us would benefit from getting out of our hearts a bit too, actually, because they're bruised and battered. And so I'm going to ask Tundra to help me here in kind of living out or demonstrating what it's like to be holding on to someone as they are approaching overwhelm, and what our options are, and how to keep connection when we're losing control. And so the last time I walked and talked with Tundra, we were in that enclosure, and it was a beautiful day. There was no wind. Today it's a little fresher, it's a little cooler. The wind is up a little, and I'm going to do a little bit of a walk out in the yard. And I'm expecting, because Tundra is, young, and we've just had a long winter, and I haven't done much but feed her all winter, that you're going to see some more alertness, a little bit discomfort, maybe some questioning of me, and quite likely that beautiful connection that you saw in the nice safe enclosure is going to be stretched, and it might even be broken. And what I want to display is that sometimes when someone we love, as represented by Tundra here, whom I love, but who is a big, her own personality, her own being, she needs to keep herself safe, and quite rightly, her believing that I can keep her safe in all situations is not true. And certainly we haven't built up that level of trust yet. So she's going to show me where her trust ends and where she needs to start taking over her own safety. And I need to let her do that, because at that point, if I fight for control, I will lose connection. And so at that point, I can drop the control and maintain the possibility of connection. And that is hard. So what I want to do is keep the slack in the rope, and I want to really listen, and I also want to be very centered myself, because my home is an option for her to come home to when she is overwhelmed. That is what I can give her, is my safe center. But if I start chasing her, I'm not a safe center anymore. Now I'm just trying to grab her and I become part of the overwhelm. So we're gonna just do a little bit of a walk. Okay, Tundra. And so you can see, that was a like, really? Because there's a lot of alfalfa on the ground. So here we go. And I mean, in the last video I talked about head down. Her head's down. Yeah, good girl. I'm just gonna stop. I want to let her look around. I want to have her stay in this zone of connection with me. I'm home. She's welcome. I'm helping her not with the rope. The rope is communication. It's not actually control. And so I'm communicating all sorts of things by how I hold the rope. And now I'm gonna just steer, and I'm just asking very lightly, and she's like, ooh, no. And so I don't want to yank on her while she's regulating, because this is not really eating. This is her regulating. This is her going, this is a lot to take in. I need a pause. And so I'm gonna just let her do that with a slack rope, because I don't want her overwhelmed. I really don't. I don't want her to think that when I take her out, I'm going to be pushing her to her limits really quickly. So let's try again. Hey there. Not a problem. Okay. So we're heading towards the barn, and there's a cat. Definitely, you're seeing the connection is a little stretchier, right? Than it was in that nice, safe enclosure. There's more distractions. Yeah. Oh, she's drifting to the other side. So she's telling me this is interesting, and what I'm hoping is that she can maintain that curiosity and keep me as her base of support. Oh. Now, if she was to get truly overwhelmed, I would have some, and I don't want to get there. I don't want to do that on video. I was thinking about that and thinking how awful that is, because you don't really want to practice overwhelm. But I could drop the rope and just walk away, right? Then I'm safe. I'm maintaining my calm center, and I'm giving her someone to come back to. Now that feels like a loss of control, right? Like I don't have any control over her. But in fact, she's very aware of where I am, and I'm not pulling on her as she tries to sort out the newness of being out of the herd, out of her corral, out of routine. So I'm going to wander back. Hi. You just stepped on your own rope, so we're going to back you up so you don't yank your head. Good girl. Yeah. And so this is her, reestablishing a home base with me. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Sometimes people we love get overwhelmed. And sometimes they want to run away or hide or do all the things that people deep stress do. Sometimes they harm themselves. And when that happens, and we have what we feel is a connection, pulling on it might not be the best way to keep that connection strong. Sometimes we need to just, again, drop the rope and see, she's following me. But she's following me as her choice because she feels safer with me. And it's not because I'm making her. And she might not always make that choice, for sure. Because if, and I mean, this has happened to me, taking another horse on a beautiful walk, and my neighbor, who had 2 pit bull type dogs that I didn't know about, were loose, came rushing at us. They were intent on murder. I dropped the rope. My horse booked it back for home. She kept herself safe. I kept myself safe. We reconnected later. At that point, me trying to pretend that I could keep her safe with this little rope would have been a big fat lie. Sometimes things happen that are they're just too big, and the best we can do is to actually drop the control so that that safe home base that we carry with us in our being, when we are able to get together again, it's still there and it's still perceived as safe. And so I guess I'm getting emotional here because this is not about horses, of course. It is, but it always is about more. People we love, we want to hold them close. We want to keep them safe. We're just not that strong. And the best thing we can do, I think, when we love someone is to take care of ourselves, to hold ourselves as precious, to keep our strong center, to remember that when we're balanced, we are in a better position to help others balance, and at least we can invite them to share our home, at least part of it. So those of you who are hanging on to people you love, I hope this is encouraging to you that it's not a failure when that connection seems to be broken, when you seem to have lost control. It's not a terrible thing. Just hold on to your own center, keep your balance, and wait, and invite back in. So, Tundra, thank you. I think this was a good little walk. She looked around and she chose to stay close to me, which is wonderful. But I want to respect that it's a big bad world, and we each of us have only so much capability of holding ourselves together, and sometimes we are overwhelmed. And when that happens, if someone can be there in our field of view, holding space, holding their center, holding the lights on as a home base, I think that is how we can show love to each other in those situations. So I hope this is encouraging for you.